So on July the 2nd, I had several matches with my brother again to practice. So now we are both choosing our team, and now the match starts. So I still use Forichess as my starter, and he uses Vigoroth. Through some online test, not through my online test, but my brother told me any back Pokemon can take down Vigoroth with the same number of shields, if I don't remember wrong, or with at least one shield. Then so he thought if a bug type Pokemon faces a Vigoroth, then the disadvantage is at Vigoroth. But every time I use Forichess, I just don't feel the advantage, because Forichess charges very slowly, and if my Forichess doesn't really use a shield, then my Forichess can quickly die, and my Forichess can only charge once. But the benefit of using Forichess is every time I charge, finish a charge move and use it, my opponent would usually use one shield, because Rock Tomb is very powerful. And again, when Vigoroth faces Vespiquen, it can quickly can use it both this land many times. So actually I hesitate the validity of bug type is advantageous over Vigoroth. So Vespiquen is also a flying type Pokemon, so when it faces electric Pokemon Raichu, it just dies quicker. And I think I shouldn't have used Break because it causes just a little damage. I should have used Wild Charge, because Wild Charge is very powerful even though it is against Lantern. Here I used Break again because I saw he only had a little energy left, and I think my combination of two Break and a Wild Charge is very effective, and it was very effective. And again, it shows Lantern is actually weak against Raichu in this month because it charges very slowly and Raichu charges very quick. And Raichu can use Break when Lantern has a little energy, and just when both Pokemons are close to death, then who can charge first? Finish charging the charge move first can win the battle. So that is why Lantern. So that is why I would not choose Lantern for my PvP competition. Again, so now it is a battle of two bugs. My brother uses Vespiquen because Vespiquen has Power Gem, and Power Gem is actually a rock type move, and it is actually effective against Noctowl. So that is why my brother chose Vespiquen. And Vespiquen is also a bug type Pokemon, so if a person uses a grass type Pokemon, then Vespiquen can melt the opponent very quickly. But the problem is, I was just hesitating. how many people would actually use Venusaur, because only if I use a Fairy Chest, then Venusaur would be melted. So that is the logic, right? Here I blocked because I wanted to use my Brick Break, but I think I probably didn't have to use Brick Break because his Vigoroth was close to death, and I could have just saved that Brick Break or even more charged power to use Wild Charge a bit more times. And he still has a shield, so it cost me to be in a disadvantage. He could have used Wild Charge because I didn't really have a shield, but he didn't really use it. So at this point, we both reached a charge point, but he managed to use his Brick Break first, so I lost this match. So I think probably my only mistake made in this match was I shouldn't have used Brick Break against Vigoroth when his Vigoroth was very close to death. And so that was the lesson I learned from there. So the lesson you can take is be very careful about using your charge move when you see your opponent is going to die, and when you don't anticipate your opponent would be able to release a charge move before his dying Pokemon dies. Okay, the match starts, and I start with a Vigoroth, and he starts with a Venusaur, and actually I had the advantage, so he was forced to change his Pokemon. And I changed my Pokemon as well because I wanted to use Brick Break to cause damage to Vigoroth and to force him to use a few shields. See, he used a shield just because he didn't want his Vigoroth to die. And I used a shield as well. So Brick Break actually charges probably as quick as Body Slam, so I didn't really fear Vigoroth. I could just use my shield to guarantee one more Brick Break use. And now when his Vespiquen emerges, I saved a Body Slam to give it a punch. And actually Vespiquen charges at Scizor not slow, I would say. And it can give Vigoroth some damage for sure, but Body Slam obviously gives Vespiquen more damage, and you can see when my Vigoroth is close to death, it can still uses 2 Body Slams. And my Noctowl was close to charge, and to prevent his Vespiquen use a Power Gem, I just used the Flying type move, and now my Flying type move charges again, so just my noctowl turned my disadvantage over, so I was very happy about that. And that is the lesson you can take. Try not to use Venusaur. And just because if you use a bag and you use Venusaur, and the bag is not Fortress or Scizor, then you're very likely to just lose the match if your opponent has a Noctowl. So that is the lesson for this practice. Thank you very much.